Everyone, so today we're going to be doing chapter 6 of geography, that's human resources. Okay, so let's start. Yeah, so people are a nation's greatest resource. Nature's bounty becomes significant only when people find it useful. It is people with their demands and abilities that turn them into resources, hence, human resources. Human resources is the ultimate resource. Healthy, educated, and motivated people develop resources as per their requirements. See, this means that us humans, people, smart, young people who are healthy and all, they use nature's resources to make things for their own. Now, the house you're living in, it wasn't made by nature, somebody else had constructed it. It was made for humans, as in, like, humans made it for their own requirements. Okay, human resources, like other resources, are not equally distributed over the world. They differ in education levels, age, and sex. Their numbers and characteristics also keep changing. I'll get to that point in this one. Now, this portion is important: distribution of population. The way in which people are spread across the earth's surface is known as the pattern of population distribution. You have to learn this definition. The way in which people are spread across the earth's surface is known as pattern of distribution. Now, we have our earth, we have our 7 continents, and everybody, like, we all live in different places. Somebody lives in Asia, somebody lives in Africa, somebody lives in America. So the way in which people are spread across the earth's surface, so in the way in which somebody lives there, somebody lives here, they're all spread out across the earth's surface, is known as the pattern of population distribution. Okay, more than 90% of the world's population lives in about 30% of the land surface. More than 90% of our population, the earth's population, they live in about 30% of the land surface. Now, the most populated continent is Asia. So that means most of the population in the world must be living there. So 90% of the world's population only lives in 30% of the land surface. Okay, so this shows that the distribution of population in the world is extremely uneven. Some areas are very crowded and some areas are sparsely. Okay, so this is just remember these examples. Very crowded areas, as in densely crowded areas, are densely populated areas. Southeast Asia, Europe, Northeastern America, and very few people live in high latitude areas, tropical deserts because of the heat, high mountains, and areas of equatorial forests. Many more people live in the north. Okay, so remember this one. 60% of the world's people just stay in 10 countries. That means we have 100 out of 100%, 60% of our entire world's population lives in just 10 countries, and we have hundreds of countries. Well, not hundreds, yeah, hundreds, okay, whatever. Just 10 countries. Like, for example, we'll have China, we'll have Russia, we'll have India, we'll have all of those countries. Okay, now let's have a look at this chart over here. Okay, so this shows that the yellow is for Asia, the orange is for Europe, the purple is for Africa, the blue is for South America, red is for North America, and this one green is for all of these places. Okay, so this shows that what Asia is the most populated. As you can see, so many yellow people. Then Europe is mildly, not even half of Asia. Same with Africa. Then Central and South America goes down a bit because there's only 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 8 people, like, not people in general, as in. So then North America, almost the same as the US, America. And then we have Oceania, as in Australia, New Zealand, and the Pacific Island. Pacific Island will be very sparsely populated. Okay, let's move on. This is also another chart which I recommend you look at. Okay, so density of population. This is one more important topic. So just, oh, what's happening? Just look at this, okay? So density of population. Population density is the number of people living in a unit area of the Earth's surface. It is normally expressed as per square kilometer. Kilometer square. Remember this. This is a very important point. This topic, density of population, is one of the most important topics which will come for your exam. So this, just read this. Okay, so the average density of population in the whole world is 51 people per square meter. So per kilometer square, the whole world, the average density of population is 51 people. Okay, so let's move on. Just read this one, it's important. Okay, so this one, factors affecting distribution of population. So these are the things that are affecting the distribution of population. So geographical factors, topography. People always prefer to live on plains rather than mountains and plateaus because these areas are suitable for farming, manufacturing, and service activities. The Ganga Plains are most densely populated areas of the world, while mountains like Himalayas are sparsely populated. So this means that, if you have an option to either live on the mountains or on a plain area, most people would pick the plain area because number one, plain area, obviously it's plain, okay, much easier already. It's easier to build things on it. And another point is that there is fertile soil, so that helps in farming and manufacturing service activities. So but you can find fertile soil in mountains and all, but it's very difficult to do so, and it's not very populated because of these things. It's not very easy to build things over there as well. Now climate, another important point. These are all very important separate points, by the way. Let's move on to climate. People usually avoid extreme climates that are very hot or very cold. Like Sahara Desert is very hot. Polar regions of Russia, Canada, and Antarctica are very cold. So you can't stay in a place that's so hot or so cold. You have to stay in a place with moderate climate. Most people prefer to do that, at least. So next, soil. Fertile soil provides, I've already told you about this. People that prefer living in plains such as Ganga and Brahmaputra in India. And I can't pronounce the ones in China, but So and Nile in Egypt are densely populated. Why? Because these are plain areas with fertile soil, hence they can help during farming, etc. Okay, let's move on. Water, very important point. People prefer to live in the areas where fresh water is easily available. The rivers, valleys of the world are densely populated, while deserts have spare population. So basically, obviously, people will prefer to live in the areas where fresh water is easily available, because people don't want to go through the trouble of going and finding water from here and then here and there. You just want to find water where it's easily available. And minerals, areas with mineral deposits are more populated. Diamond mines of South Africa and discovery of oil in the Middle East led to settling of people in these areas. Remember this point. Diamond mines and the discovery of the oil in the Middle East. Okay. Social, cultural, and economic factors. Areas of better Now remember this, for social areas of better housing, education, and education facilities are densely populated because you want to have all these facilities around you. Example, Pune. Cultural places with regional religion or cultural significance attract people. Okay, remember these examples. Varanasi, Jerusalem, and Vatican City are some examples where places with religion or cultural significance attract people. Where there are places where you can, continue your religion, you can celebrate it, you can do this, you can do that. So that economic. Industrial areas provide employment. Oh God. Employment opportunities. Large number of people are attracted to these areas. Osaka in Japan, Mumbai in India are two densely populated areas. Economic, where people can find jobs, where people can, where areas can provide employment opportunities. Okay. Population change. No need to read all of this. I'm just gonna explain it to you like that. Basically, population change is basically when, see, there's certain areas and there's, like, for example, we take India. So India will have more birth rate and lesser death rate. Okay, so they will make tables, like maybe this is for India, they'll make bar graphs, something. So this biggest one is for 0 to 4 years, maybe something like that. So basically they're talking about a birth rate and death rate. Now the more number of newborns in one country will mean that there's more birth rate, and if there are more number of old people or people above the age of 65, means that there's going to be more death rate. So just read this once and let's read this paragraph. Births are usually measured using the birth rate, i.e., the number of live births per 1,000 people. Deaths are usually measured using the same thing. Migration, remember, now there's a new definition. Migration is the movement of people in and out of an area. If somebody moves from one place to the other place, it is known as migration. Okay. Births and cause are the natural causes of population change. The difference between the birth rate and the death rate of a country is called natural. What's this? Natural growth rate. What is happening? Natural growth rate. Okay. So just remember that. That's another definition that might come in the exam, although I doubt it. But okay. So this is another chart. This is the world population growth, which you can just look at. I'm pretty sure you'll be able to understand after what I explained. So let's move on. Now this paragraph in this page is talking about the immigrants, the migrations, the emigrants, and yeah. Then we have a map over here, population. And then our chapter is over. This part I've already explained it, the bar graph. I explained it 2 minutes in like a minute, but I'll explain it again. Okay, so migration is another way by which population size changes. Now, if people move from one country to a different country, don't you think the population will change? Yes, it will, by the way. So, people may move within a country or between countries. Emigrants are people who leave a country. Immigrants are those who arrive in a country. Emigrants are, for example, I'm living in India and I leave India. So what is that called? That's called an emigrant. But for example, I was living in the US before, okay, and I leave to come to India, then that is known as an immigrant. The person who leaves a country is known as emigrant, and the person who comes to a country, who arrives in a country, is known as immigrants. Countries like the United States of America and Australia have gained in number by migration or immigration. Now, obviously, a lot of people have been wanting to shift to America or Australia, countries like that. So they've gained a lot of immigration. Sudan is an example of a country that has experienced a loss in population numbers due to out immigration or emigration. You should understand this. Okay. So Sudan has basically lost their population numbers because people are moving out of the country. They're going somewhere else. They're leaving Sudan. Okay. So next, the general trend of international migrations. Okay, so a lot of people, the people who shift for international immigrants, like they go to, for example, America, is usually because of the unemployment in their original place, and they want a job. They want to find a country or a place that offers employment opportunities. Okay. Patterns of population change. Rates of population. Yes, look at this. Some countries like Kenya. Kenya is one example. You'll also have India as an example. You'll have Japan also as an example. And you'll have UK also as an example. So, some countries like Kenya. Kenya has a high population growth, and they have a high birth rate, and they have a high death rate also. Okay, so that shows that it's very populated. With improving healthcare, death rates have fallen, but birth rates remain high, leading to high growth rates. In other countries like UK, population is slowing because of both low death and low birth rates. Okay. Yeah. So Japan came. See, I told you. Because in Japan, there's a higher death rate because there are more old people compared to the young people. Okay. But Japan is very densely populated, but Japan is far more economically developed than Bangladesh. To understand the role of people as a resource, we need to know more about their qualities. Okay, this you can just read, you'll get it. It's okay, same thing. How many males or females, which age group do they belong to, and how educated they are, and what type of occupations are they employed in, what are income and health conditions. An interesting way of studying the population composition of a country is by looking at the population pyramid. So now the population pyramid is probably the most important part of the chapter. So see, look here, listen carefully now. Okay, population pyramid. They have made a bar graph, and from 0 to 4 is this. This is the biggest line, so this shows that the birth rate is high. And look up here, that is for 85 above. So this shows that the death rate is lower than the birth rate. Okay, because you can see it in the bar graph, and questions like this will come in your exam. They'll put one of these and ask you, or they'll ask you to make one, something like that. You have to ask your teacher, I don't know. So yeah, that's that. Now they've given examples of Kenya, which I told you, high birth rate and high wait, let me write it. High birth rate and high death rate also. India has a high birth rate and low death rate. And Japan has low birth rate and high death rate. High death rate. DR stands for death rate. And yeah. Okay. Now the questions. I hope you understood this chapter. Feel free to ask any questions in the comments, and I will reply by today itself. So yes, thank you so much for watching. Bye.